Hello, I would like to make another small short video, still in Antwerp, about back in the old city. And I always found this fascinating because you have a street name that's called the Jodenstraat. That's how it would be pronounced in Flemish. That would be, in other words, the Jew street, or like the Judengasse, that you found in all major cities from the Middle Ages. Problem is that, as I explained in some earlier videos, Antwerp, unlike the other major cities in the lowlands, like Brussels and Ghent and the others in Flanders and other places, which did have a population of Jews in the Middle Ages, the Antwerp didn't have one in the Middle Ages. And there's another, when the time that the Jews came here in by the Marano period, as we had spoken in the other videos, but they left in 1521 when the Inquisition was introduced in Antwerp, and until then this street wasn't called the Jodenstraat, but it was called the Waardstraat. So how did this get named Jodenstraat? No one really knows exactly. Others want to say that it has to do with the church that you see up here. This is some church that overlooks the Jodenstraat, and that would be very in line with the doctrine of Augustine, because the doctrine of Augustine tells us that the Jews, that the church is the glory one, and he's looking down on the narrow Jew street. But I don't believe that will be the case. I posit that there was a Jewish population, maybe unofficially, but it was a public secret, known secret, that Jews that would want to come here in commerce, or they would want to come do their business dealings, they would use this street, and they would concentrate themselves on this street. Now, some fascinating information just came out lately by a rabbi in Sao Paulo. He found some letters from Rabbi Isaac of Abuhav III. Or the Yitzchak Abuhab III. Why is he called so? Because he was a descendant from two other Yitzchak Abuhavs, also very known rabbis. Now this Yitzchak Abuhav, he was a rabbi in Amsterdam, and he actually went with the Dutch. When the Dutch took colonies, when they took some colonies in the South America, in the American Indies, they took a place called Recife, and he was brought here as a Dayan. When the Dutch Indies had fell apart in South America, the Jews, he moved back to Amsterdam. He became the Rav HaKoilel, or the main rabbi of all of Amsterdam. 3 weeks before he passed away, he wrote a responsa, and a very interesting one, to the congregation of Anvers. Anvers was the name of this place. He writes about a Shochet. Now, there was a little background. Looks like there was a Shochet, a guy that does ritual slaughtering. I'm just going to stand over here so you can see a bit more of like the Jodenstraat. A ritual slaughterer is someone that is very needed for kosher meat. So even if you don't have much of a congregation with a rabbi and a chazan and all that, it was very known in very small populations where there was just very small amount of Jews, but the ritual slaughter was here. And this one, he sold, he slaughtered the animals, but he gave the people parts of the animals that weren't allowed to be consumed without doing the proper nikur, or taking away the fats that are not allowed to be consumed. So there was someone called Isaac of Lorenzo, and he sent a petition to the Dayanim of Amsterdam, to the rabbis of Amsterdam, to investigate the matter. They sent someone here to investigate, and he was warned that if he's not doing it right, and if he wants to get his permission to do the slaughtering right, he must show up in Amsterdam and take his course again to get smicha, or ordinance, for doing the shchita again. It seems like he hadn't done that, and a month later, this was 3 weeks before Yitzchak Abuhab passes away, he writes a cherem on this Shochet that's living on this street. And this was just found recently, and maybe I'll put on a link in the Sefer that you can, if someone wants to study this one further. Another very interesting account is that of the Chaim Yosef David Azulai, also known as the Chida. He was a famous traveler from the Jewish community in the Holy Land in Hebron. He was sent to collect money in the German and Italian and mainly the German and Italian cities. And he passed by here in his second travels in 1787, and it was in it was like in the spring or late spring, early summer. He passed by here, and in 1787, and he shows up here on the 3rd of Tammuz, which was a Erev Shabbat, right before the Shabbat. He showed up over here in Gimel Tammuz. It was Shabbos Parshas Korach, and he says he comes here. He meets someone called Rabbi Zelek. He asks Rabbi Zelek, maybe is there a minyan here? He says, no, usually there's no minyan, but they found another few merchants and they gathered together and they made a minyan. Now, I posit that this place, although it wasn't a regular organized congregation, but this was known as if two Jews ever came for commerce, and they were here for a little while doing business. Even if it wasn't an organized kehillah, there was definitely here something after the Spanish Inquisition was gone and the French took over. So this is my analysis of the Jodenstraat.